for tuning in to BP Ensemble's Quick Flick series, You Have Time to Support a Small Business. I am the creator and host, BP Harris, and I am sitting here with one of the world's finest fitness coaches. But I'm going to let him introduce himself.
You know the vibes. It's Cory Armstrong, a.k.a. Mr. Ripped AF, a.k.a. Rip Ross, a.k.a. Buff, Bald, and Bearded.
It's a lot. Y'all remember that. So, how did Armstrong Fitness come about? I mean, I know you started here, but like you've expanded a lot. So tell us your story.
Well, you know the deal. You know, it's a long story. You know, I can get into the whole thing if you want to. You really want to hear it? You want to know what it's about?
Tell us.
Well, it dates back to my days as a wee chap. You know, when I was a wee chap, I was real skinny, real frail, lacked self-esteem, right? And I remember seeing this movie called 300. You ever seen that movie 300?
Yep.
There was some Spartans in there. I remember they was killing people. You know what I'm saying? This is Sparta. They gave him the boot, knocked him out. Okay, so I was watching that, and I seen how ripped they were, and how shredded, and how they was just killing motherfuckers. And I was like inspired by that. So I went home that night, I did my first 100 push-ups. And that was what planted the seed of getting in shape. It wasn't until many years later of actually like consistently working out and actually getting the results I wanted that I went into coaching. You know what I mean? It's quite the path. You know, I might write a book one day. You know, I might write a book one day.
So I probably should have given this disclaimer earlier, but you know, Cory and I know each other very well. We are best friends, so please excuse our silliness and stuff. And as I say certain things, because I see he not telling everything. Like I was there in the parking lots with him, passing out the signs.
Oh, you want that part of the
right? You gotta let us know. You gotta let him know. Gotta let him know. So with that being said, when was that moment that you knew? Because like when we were in college, you majored in construction.
Yeah.
Well, clearly you're not there.
It was whack.
So how did you get to, you know, starting your own business?
All right, you know, so to get to that part of the story, I got to take you back a couple years. So yes, unfortunately, I did major in construction when I was in college. Construction management, to be specific, is what I got my bachelor's in. And so when I got out, I was working in that field for a few months, 7 months to be exact. I hated every single moment of it. And during that time, I actually had a close friend of mine who passed away from sickle cell anemia. And it really struck me like on my emotional core, because at the time I was 23 and she was 22, so we were really close in age. And you know, she was my best friend. And like when she passed, it was just like that light bulb in my mind that I didn't think that somebody that young around my age could pass. So I realized that, you know, I didn't have as much time as I really thought I had. And when I started to think about that, I started to take life more seriously. Like I really wanted to realize my true potential in all areas of my life, because I just felt like it could end at any moment. So I just started first, you know, I got into this leadership development group where entrepreneurship was one of the main focuses. And, you know, they discussed it a lot, talked about it a lot. And I was learning that it was actually possible to, you know, work for yourself. And I mean, you went to public schools. Like we didn't know about this type of stuff, entrepreneurship, self-employment, those type of things. So it was my first exposure to actually like working for myself. I thought the route was you go to college, you graduate, you get a job, and then you're successful all of a sudden. So once that happened, actually a blessing in disguise, the construction company I worked for laid me off for the wintertime. It's something very common in Michigan, because when the winters hit, you know, it's not a lot of work. So they laid me off. During that time, I had got a sales job at a gym. So that's what you were referring to about the flyers, is I was actually working on the sales team at the gym. And that was during the time where I was transitioning my mind away from working for someone to working to myself. And being in that environment in the gym, I was actually working on myself. The reason I actually became a coach is because that was my first testimony. So I was working out, I had this sales job, I was doing the late night leadership development group meetings. So I was training my mind and training my body both at the same time. And this all together, I'm kind of giving you like the snippets, but it was like a 3-year process of me growing mentally, growing physically, and then deciding like, you know what, I'm doing this. I've transformed my body now. I lost 50 pounds in 5 months. We'll get to that later. And then, you know, people started reaching out to me because they saw the changes in me and started to help. So that's where it began.
So, as you all know, like, we've had this conversation a lot, and I always think that it's dope. Like, it's not, and I'm gonna tap more into you. Like, I'm about to pull some more information out. Because I still feel like you're not telling the people everything, like, what really makes you unique.
Let's get into it.
Yes. Okay, cool. So, like, with you being a coach, what are other things that you provide that's different? Like, me personally, we all see a lot of coaches, and a lot of them, they just talk about losing weight. But you, obviously, that's not the first thing that you promote. It's a lot more to it that affects your entire life. So I want you to tap more into that, so people really understand why it's so valuable to, like, listen to what you're saying and to follow you to be inspired.
Well, to really dive into that, I think I need to address what most people struggle with when it comes to their health and fitness goals. It's really only one of two things. Either they don't have the knowledge of what to do, or they lack the consistency to apply the things that are going to get them the results. And so the knowledge is just, not having a structure or a coach or somebody to just give you the intellect. But the other piece of it, that consistency, I think is really the main reason why coaches are so valuable in this. When you don't have consistency, it's because you don't have discipline in this area. If you don't have discipline, then that's a mindset issue. It's no accountability in this particular area, and I provide that. We were talking before all of this about how it's not just about getting in shape so that you look good. It's also about how you feel, and really what I speak to is predominantly guys. Like, I do coach some women, but it's like the guy that was like me. The guy that struggled with his confidence, his self-esteem, his self-worth, and really internally it messes with him knowing that he could look better, he could feel better, he could be healthier if he were to actually apply himself more in this area. So, I really just provide that framework, that structure for him, with both nutrition and exercise, but I also hold them accountable to actually do the work. And it's one of those things where I'm checking in on them every day, each week. We have a call, we talk face to face about, what they're struggling with. And I just tap a lot into that mindset piece of it, because a lot of the times it's just the way that people frame things, the tasks they have to do or the things that go on in their life. If you just shift that and let them know, like, it is possible if you just do things differently, a lot of the times, you'd be amazed at some of the results you can get. So that's really what I specialize in. It's like just providing structure and then holding people accountable, helping them build their discipline. I believe if you build discipline in this area, that discipline applied can go to any other area in your life, and you could see some substantial changes.
Discipline. That's a key word. A lot of people think it's motivation. I'm honestly victim of that.
Well, if I can say something, I think motivation is some bullshit. It's one of the main reasons why people don't get the results they want, because they're relying on motivation. Motivation is an emotion, it comes and goes. And it's great when you have it, right, when you're motivated, but what about when you're not? And I think people relying on it is part of the problem. You got to get away from that emotion and focus more on something that you can actually build, and that's your discipline.
That is so true. And sadly, it took me to the pandemic to really realize that. Because, like, for example, just having all this free time that we all had, and now trying to figure out, like, how do we capitalize on it? And there were some days I was motivated, I'm like, I'm ready to go. I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do with VP Ensemble, even though I can't do events. And then other days I was like, I'm asleep. I'm going to lay in bed. I'm going to watch TV. So it really took understanding, like you said, discipline. So with that being said, and talking about the pandemic, how have you made best use in your business during this time?
That's a great question. So it's actually interesting, like, when it comes to talking about the pandemic, because I kind of feel bad, like, talking about it. It affected a lot of people in a lot of detrimental ways. But for me, it was actually a blessing in disguise. When it happened, it really gave me the one thing that I was lacking to take my business to the next level, and that was focus. You have time. I had that. I had time to focus on what my business, where my business was at, where I wanted it to be, and what it would take to get there. And in that time, I don't know how detailed you want me to get on the money aspect, but let's just say, I tripled my income, with my business, so much that I was able to eliminate an entire sector that wasn't bringing in revenue. So that was the in-person training aspect. So I'm completely virtual. I'm all online. Recently hired an assistant. So, it's a team of two. We're doing pretty solid numbers. I don't want to brag on myself, but, we entered some new tax brackets and we're constantly scaling up. So it's looking really good.
That's amazing. Like, I get, a lot of us, we are so, like, when we talk to people, we want to hear, like, the sadness. Because, like you said, it's been a very detrimental time. But for others, like you said, it's been a great time. It's provide perspective, discipline, the drive, like, the new focus, gave you time to get more knowledge. So that's awesome. And congratulations that your assistant out here killing it. So, like, what are your goals? So now, because I'm probably before, especially when it started, you probably had, like, for 2 seconds, like, I don't know what's about to happen. But like you said, you saw something that wasn't working anymore, which caused you to go harder, and it gave you amazing results. So what are your long-term goals now? Like, that we know about the pandemic. Now, our mindset is different in business. Like, is our business pandemic proof? So now, knowing all of this, what do you plan on doing 10, 20 years from now?
It's one of those things where my goals don't just end with fitness. So as far as the fitness aspect of it, Cory Armstrong Fitness, we will be, and I'm stating this right now, in the next 3 years, we will be $1 million company. We're on a fast track to that right now. And so once that happens, I would like to branch out and get into more things where I'm working with, like, that mindset piece of things. I think that is important. So I want to get into some more speaking. If events ever are a thing again and we can be amongst thousands of people, I love to get on stage and talk to people about improving their mindset and what it takes to focus in, accomplish goals and things of that sort. I want to get to a point where I can actually coach business owners on how to make money. Like, I want to be that person that I actually found. I found a mentor throughout this time, and that's why I was able to scale it to this level. So I want to be that to someone else. I want to teach people how to make money. Before the pandemic, I was actually in schools doing youth coaching. So I was working with young men, teaching them everything from leadership to collegiate prep to just like all those skill sets that we don't learn in school. And I would love to do more of that type of stuff down the line. So it's really one of those things where in the next 3 years, I want to build this so far to where it services, millions and millions of people to help them get to their health and fitness goals, and then branch out so I can service people in other areas that I feel like I'm called to do.
Well, that's awesome. That's definitely needed. It's good to hear that, because a lot of people think that since you're an entrepreneur, that means your business is going to be here 30, 40, 50 years down the line. And some people don't understand that sometimes a business is just meant to be, for 10 years or 15 years or whatever it takes just for you to get that next step, just like what you said. Mm-hmm. So with aspiring entrepreneurs, like we said before, a lot of people are really nervous. They don't know about starting a business with this pandemic going on and how they're going to make it. So what is something that you feel that a business cannot live without?
I kind of delve into it a bit earlier when I was talking about one of the concepts that I learned in my journey, and that's define, learn, do. You have to first define what it is you want your life to look like. I wanted a certain level of freedom. I wanted to be able to work for myself 100%, experience financial freedom, be able to travel and do, pretty much anything that I wanted to do for myself or the people that I care about. And so you got to define that first, because that's going to be your guide in life. So define what you want, learn from the people who have done it before you. And I would say if you're an entrepreneur, you don't have a mentor of some type, then you're really doing yourself a disservice. Everything that you want in any area has been done before you. So it's really in your best interest to just find the people who have done it with success and not try to reinvent the wheel, but just try to follow in their footsteps. Learn from them, whether it's getting their books, buying their courses, or working one-on-one with mentors, with whatever programs are available. It's going to get you leaps and bounds ahead of the curve, because there's things that you don't know, right? There's blind spots that you have that you don't even know. during the pandemic, that was my key to success. You know, during the time, I actually worked with two mentors. I have a business coach, a guy who's, you know, taking me from 0 to 6 figures, and then I got a guy who is my productivity and mindset coach. And this is the guy who is keeping me locked in and focused on my next level goals and making me more productive so I can run a 2-man team and it be successful. And recently I just hired a social media coach. I'm still hiring coaches. It doesn't stop. The learning doesn't stop. And then last but not least, that do part, you know, doing the work. And not just doing it once, not just trying it and seeing if it works. No, doing it until it works, right? Doing it, staying consistent, showing up every single day. I tell people all the time, like, consistency is undefeated. Like, persistence is undefeated. If you show up every single day and do what's required, it's no way you can lose. So if you have those 3 things, I don't see any way you can fail.
Define, learn, Cory. Define, learn, and do. So those are 3 great concepts. I think that is the perfect way to end this video. And I see you ready to flex. So, so where can everybody find you so they can learn to be disciplined as you and get the results that you've gotten physically, mentally, emotionally? How can they get in touch with you?
Hey, you know the vibes. I'm on IG, Cory Armstrong Fit. So that's Cory Armstrong, FIT. And you can also find me on Facebook, Cory Armstrong, or Facebook business, Cory Armstrong Fitness. I'm coming back to YouTube soon, you know what I'm saying? So be on the lookout for your boy.
So in case you missed all that, because I know it was a lot, and he flexing. So as always, everybody that we interview, you know that you can find them on BP Ensemble on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. All platforms, BP Ensemble. But once again, just in case they want to write it down, where can they find you?
Cory, C-O-R-Y, Armstrong, like Louis, F-I-T on Instagram. Cory Armstrong Fit. Cory Armstrong, Facebook. Cory Armstrong Fitness, Facebook pages.
So just look, Cory Armstrong, basically.
You know the vibes. And that is my real name. I did not make that up from fitness.
Not just the Ross and the bald. And
Yeah, that.
Gotcha.
I mean, people gave that to me. I didn't. That was created for me because they saw that in my spirit. And it's like, you can have these names. I was like, thank you. And that was it.
Well, I appreciate you making time. I know you be out here busy. You know, I'm penciling people in and everything. So I definitely appreciate you taking time. And for you have time. So once again, you can find Cory Armstrong on BP Ensemble pages too. Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, all platforms BP Ensemble. Thank you again for being here sitting with me, as always, and thank you all for watching.